That's just the icon from the effects.
Right. Okay, perfect. We are going live now. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I start the stream, and then I don't actually go live on YouTube until I click the going live. So it'll show me a preview to let me know everything's going. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, you know what, YouTube? I'll deal with it. We can work with this. All right. Hello, everyone. How goes it?
Hello.
Hello.
My God, my players have turned Russian or Eastern European.
Hello.
I don't want to pigeonhole you. Welcome back to Curse of the Crimson Throne, session 50. Guys, we made it. 5-0.
Ah!
It's only taken a year and a half or so.
Like half a century.
Almost 2 years, actually. I think it's been almost 2 years.
Not for me.
Not for you. It's been
Yeah,
how
we
long?
started like April 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's bananas. And Kadi, you've been with us what? 8 months or so? 6 months?
Something like that.
Something along those lines. Anyway, we took a small brief hiatus from this campaign. Not from playing, but just from this campaign and streaming. But we're back to start another hiatus. Before we get into it, just to let the audience know, obviously book 2 has been kind of dark. I mean, it's been a little bit grim dark, just a tad. And I looked at the campaign that we're playing. I'm like, yeah, it's not getting better. Like, don't expect book 3 to be roses and sunshine. Maybe we should take a side excursion, a chance to do something that's not quite people dying of the plague everywhere. So we're going to do that, and it should still be fun, and I will still find ways to tear their souls out, but in fun, cheerful ways.
Yay!
All right. So any questions before we get started? From you guys, not from the audience.
No.
Can I have my corgi?
You can. No one's stopping you. You just have to cast the spell.
It's been 5 years.
It's been 84 years.
You summoned the spell 5 years ago, and what? Like, your giant corgi ran off chasing squirrels, and you still haven't seen them?
No, I was running it on Internet Explorer, so it's picking up.
Oh, like she's casting a spell, and it's just that old modem connection noise. Alright, any other questions before we get started?
No.
I'm sure we'll ask you as we go along.
Sure, makes sense. So, first things first. When we ended last session, it was quite a cliffhanger. We are going to pick up at that cliffhanger. Oh, wait, before we get started, hang on. Huge announcement. Very sad announcement, actually. But hopefully not permanently sad. Unfortunately, fortunately, Blue has gotten a new job, which is a great job. It's a good job. However, it is not a job that allows her to be with us on Tuesdays. And we all looked into it to see if we could move it somewhere else. And the problem was, anywhere else we tried to move it, we'd lose more than one player. So unfortunately, for the time being, Blue is not going to be in the campaign. Now, should her schedule change at any point, she will immediately, and I mean like the gods will teleport her in, join the campaign again. And in the meantime, I will use her to bounce ideas off of how to torment the rest of you.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, hey, I did the same with you while you were gone.
Yeah, I know. I just know that she's more devious than I am.
That's very true. Of all the people at this table, I think she is the one that actually enjoys the sadistic aspects. But my brother, Ren, he's just missing for the night, so he'll be here next time. That said, we left on quite a cliffhanger You all watched as Queen Iosa gave a speech to the crowd about your heroism while standing in front of you all, in front of the whole town. You watched as the leader of the Sable Guard attempted to assassinate her by shooting her in the temple with a crossbow. You saw her pluck it out almost nonchalantly and attempt to kill him with his own arrow. Freya, using a bit of portents at the very last second, managing to save his life by making the arrow not land a fatal blow. And then, as Queen Iosa retreated, as pandemonium erupted in the courtyard below, well, not pandemonium, but certainly unrest, she looked straight at Aras. And in your mind, Aras, a very familiar voice said to you, "You will pay for the death of my son." And then Queen Iosa and the Grey Maidens teleported away back into the castle, leaving you all with Chrysidia standing on the stage, still trying to process exactly what just happened. What do you guys want to do in the immediate? Below you, the crowd is shocked, uneasy, murmurs and shouting is starting. There's not like physical unrest, but the crowd is certainly not happy about everything that's transpired in the last 30 seconds.
You said that Chrysidia's up here with us, right?
Correct. She just got told that her Crimson Guard have lost their responsibilities of protecting the city to the fine Grey Maidens due to the loss of their strength during the plague. Purely that, of course.
Definitely.
No other alternative motives.
How is she looking right now?
Shocked. Absolutely shocked. She is one of the few people that was close enough to see that crossbow bolt didn't just graze her. It went into her head, and she pulled it out as if it was nothing. Most of the people in the audience are too far away to really know, and of course humans are very good, well, all species are very good at rationalizing what they see. But she's one of the few, like you, that is close enough to not mistake it. And she's just... her jaw's dropped. She's trying to process what she just saw.
How close is she to us? Like standing right next to us? Oh,
standing right next to you, yeah. So you were all up there in positions of honor.
Okay, and air quotes, Queen Iosa has already walked away, correct?
Yes, queen in every sense of the word.
Amelia is going to kind of slip back between or behind everyone and move over to Chrysidia and kind of murmur to the group, "We should get going."
You'll hear quietly from Chrysidia, "Yes, I think maybe we should."
So, Squee, I do have a question now.
Yes.
As I told you I would. I heard that voice in my head. Was it Gadrian's voice, or...
Yes. So, with the message spell, you are aware of who is speaking to you. You are very aware it was Gadrian.
Okay, that's what I thought. Like, Ross is just completely pale and like just empty, just mentally remember, not there.
There was one more thing that Ross picked up: the brilliant jade green eyes of Queen Iosa.
Yeah, she is like mentally checked out.
Well, more like eyes very similar to your own. Yeah.
I just meant,
yeah.
like,
I thought you were like, I mean, yes, Quiriosa is probably not all there.
No. Oh, Ross is mentally checked out.
I mean, she did just get an arrow to the brain. Yes, I got you. All right, so yeah, you say that, and Chrysidia responds, and Aras has not even moved.
Amelia will put a hesitant hand on Aras's shoulder and like gently give it like a little squeeze shake.
She'll just kind of look at you. Like, did you need something?
We should get going. Are you okay?
No. But we should talk about that away from here.
Good idea. And she'll start moving towards the exit of the platform, I guess. I don't know.
Sure, yeah. There's no crowd behind you, so it's fairly easy to do. And the crowd gets thoroughly more upset. You hear shouts of assassin, assassin, save the queen. As you remember, the atmosphere of the town in the past 3 weeks has very much gone to the queen's side, as whether through spinning or the tail or what have you, the current narrative of the saving of the city is your group. Of course, your group is still highly regarded, which is why you were on the stage getting rewarded, but also the queen. People are starting to see her as a savior of the city, and the very fact that the commander of the Sable Company, who has not done a whole lot during the plague, the Sable Company hippogriffs and their riders were not seen very much while the plague was spreading, are not getting pleasant words sent their way. But you guys are able to make your way down the stage and off quietly into one of the side streets, where they are completely empty, as almost everyone in the town is either in their homes or in that square. Well, that's not even remotely true. There's no way you could pack 27,000 people. Well, no, actually, they lost what, 5,000? How many did I say? You lost 20% of the city. So I don't know. Maybe at this point you could. But the point is, the streets are almost dead. The square is very packed. You can still hear the sounds as you walk away. And as you're walking away, Chrysidia, you hear her muttering to herself, "It's impossible. It's impossible. That can't happen."
Like, after they kind of walk off, like, Arlen, or damn it, knew I was gonna do that. Aras kind of clicks into gear, like, mentally, and looks up at Chrysidia and says, "Is there a place where we can talk? Away from prying eyes and ears?"
Yes. Of course. Yes. Citadel Volshnik hasn't been taken from me yet. And she'll start leading the way. And as you guys approach the Citadel, Regan, you very quickly find Shala by your side after a few minutes. And as she steps up, she'd say very quietly, "What happened? I couldn't see much from where I was, but was she hit?"
She was.
I see.
Shala, it went right through.
Amelia will shake her head and say, "Not here."
Right. And she'll just fall into step. And It takes about a good 20 minutes or so of a very tense, quiet walk until you guys get back to Citadel Volshnik. And Cressida just marches straight past the guards who salute her. She doesn't even acknowledge them. Straight into the back room and ushers everyone inside and closes the door. Throws her breastplate onto the floor and starts pacing around, like with her dark leather, her leather under jacket just kind of hanging loosely. All right, everyone saw what I saw, right?
Yes.
Killed her.
Except that's not the queen.
Crucidia stops pacing.
What do you mean?
I don't know how, but that's Gadrian.
You keep mentioning, who is Gadrian?
Oh god. Amelia just like puts a hand over her mouth and shakes her head and goes, "This must have been it. This must have been his." Oh, damn it.
Gadrian Lamb is a particularly underhanded and vile person that Maury, Amelia, and I have all had our own separate run-ins with. He's what brought us all together, I guess, in the first place.
He is also Ralt's father.
And Crucidia, as you just mentioned, Aras, he is a he, an old man to boot. The queen is very much not that.
Ralph mentioned a gift for his father. This must have been it. He must have done something.
And they used the plague. I don't know how they fit into fuck, it's been so long I forgot her name.
Who?
The
Endiason?
Endiason, yes. And I don't know how he's connected to Endiason, but he's was behind the plague from the beginning. Rolth and my brother were working together, and my brother was studying this plague, and Rolth was trying to weaponize it.
Weaponize it how? Crucidia says, going to her desk.
I don't know. It didn't make sense. He kept asking for notes from my brother, and he was talking about infection rates and other things. All I know is when I talked to my brother about Rolth and what Rolth was trying to do, he banned me from coming back to the lab. And then 2 weeks later, I walk in to bring him dinner, and he's talking to Gadrian about wanting the notes on his research, saying something about he was the one funding it, so my brother had to give him whatever he wanted. And when my brother refused, well, Rolth killed him. And that's last thing my brother told me was to run. And so that's when I grabbed his notes and left.
You hear very softly from behind you the voice of Shala. Oh, Ross. So sorry. Ross, roll me an intelligence check.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
19 plus 3. Maybe it's, I assume as Chrysidia was asking these questions and you're fumbling for an answer, you're going back over the notes and what you learned during the plague and what your brother said to you those days, and you're searching your brain for an answer as you tell her what you say, and maybe during that it kind of clicks. Your brother was focused on a plague, a very deadly plague, a plague like the Blood Veil, which you now know was what the Blood Veil was based off of, whatever plague your brother was studying. And his method, according to his notes of combating it, was a way to trigger a magical enchantment through science of the body healing itself and hoping that the body could heal whatever damage the plague did. When you said that Rolf was trying to weaponize it, maybe weaponize it by increasing it.
Like the damage?
By allowing someone to heal from maybe even things that should kill them.
Okay. And so, like, Aras will say that, and say, maybe that's how he lived. When he got shot in the head. It should have killed him.
But how, Chris goes, how could you be sure it's him? I was right next to her. She talked to me. That was not a disguise, unless it was magical.
I don't know how he did it, but I know it's him. And he knows that I killed Rolf.
It has to have been what he was doing before we got to him.
Murray would say, I for one believe you, child. And it is exactly the kind of thing that he would do. And Cressida just kind of sits down. And, wait. All right, let me see if I can wrap my head around this. You're saying that a 2-bit crime lord, and I'm sorry, I know how the effect he's had on your lives, but from the grand scheme of things, he was a 2-bit crime lord, is now somehow impersonating the Queen of Corvosa.
I know it doesn't make any sense, but when we were up there, he did something, and I could hear him inside my mind. And I know that it's crazy, but I knew it was him.
Mary would pipe up. Ascending spell. I use them all the time. Cressida, I've done it to you. Did you not know instantly who I was? And Cressida's eyes widen. Oh no. I was hoping that you were just mistaken. So, this man impersonates the Queen, strips all authority, just about, from the Crimson Guard, and has made the entire city fall in love with him. Oh, this is fantastic. This is a great day. And she kicks back on the chair, and running her hands through her hair and just in utter frustration.
I'm sure this is only the beginning of his plans.
Right. Well, if he's got it out for you, and he'll point to Aras for landing the final blow on Rolf, That means that somehow he knows. How does he know? We killed everyone in that room. Even the ones that were already dead.
You said that it was only a Ross that saw the eye, correct?
Correct.
God damn it.
When we were in there, I'll say that I saw like after everything was done, I saw something up by the roof. Like maybe it was an eye or something watching. Maybe somehow he was watching.
You hear like a soft curse, something about magic under Chrysitia's breath.
Hey, Squee?
Yes.
Would Amelia know anything about Gadrian's like specialization as far as magic goes?
Yeah, possibly. Roll me. You know what? What would I call this? What would this be? Roll me
Arcana?
No. Yeah, I guess
History?
so. I would say a history check, honestly. Roll me a history check. It's not going to be an incredibly hard DC given your past. No, that's fine.
11.
That's enough. When you knew Gadrian Lamb, he was very skilled when it came to the arts of thievery. He was good at picking locks. He was good at moving quickly. He was good with a dagger. Very, very good with a dagger, actually. And his talents more were mastermind type talents. But as long as you knew him, his son possessed the magical talents. He never once showed any proclivity to magic.
So the fact that he cast a fireball at us in the Greys was kind of a shock?
Yes, it would have been a shock indeed. Unless he had some sort of magical item that you hadn't seen. He did have a love for those.
Oh, I can imagine.
Wait, you mean it's not a family trait to just do TPKs with fireballs?
Well, I mean, sure it is, but maybe it's not natural born. It's certainly a family trait. Wait until you meet their youngest daughter. No.
Oh my god.
Don't even.
They call her Fireball McGee.
Anyways. Yeah, Amelia would let everyone know, just like from what I've known of Gadrian, and I've known him for an unfortunate amount of time. He's had no talent for magic. It was always roll. It's possible that he's been doing all of this through magical items that have been made for him, but
You hear Shala in the background, and she kind of stops, hesitating, kind of. You all know Shala well enough by now to know that when she's kind of unsure of herself and kind of closes in,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, I can say that some people who are very, very good at hiding themselves will often hide their talents even from their closest workers until it's time not to hide them anymore. She finishes in a rush, looking at the floor.
so he's just been keeping his abilities secret this whole time. I
Shala
suppose
shrugs.
that is something he would do.
I mean, you're the one that worked with him more. I've seen him maybe 10 minutes total.
Amelia kind of gives a short, bitter laugh and goes, "For all that I have known either of them, I'm sure the grand majority of what I know of them is lies. They seemed to be very good at it."
I think more important than what he can do magically, we need to figure out why. Was his goal just to take over?
Doesn't get much higher than this. But he can't just stop at this. There has to be some further end goal, knowing Gadrian. Even ruling over Corvosa is not enough. At least not in this state. Perhaps he's looking to become a complete tyrant, but there's still going to be something beyond this that he plans.
Amelia, with your history check, I would say one more thing would be fairly obvious to you from your time with him. Gadrian never liked leading in the open. He was always the guy that was behind the curtain. He was always the guy that used puppet masters. Like Dervargo is a perfect example. Rolth, even to an extent, he would hide behind. From what you know of Gadrian, for him to take the spotlight like this, to become the queen, that's a little odd. Maybe her advisor, maybe someone that whispers in her ear, surely, but the queen herself, that's too exposed for him. More power, maybe, but also more exposure.
More work, too. I mean, he's the type of person who'd rather be like, you know, the court advisor.
He would rather reap the rewards than actually sow the fields, I suppose.
I have no idea what he's trying to do. What, his end game is. And I don't even know how we're going to find out.
Well, Visidia stands up. Whatever it is, you're not going to find out today. We all need time. Look, 3 weeks ago, we all went through hell. And I have a feeling things aren't going to get much better, not with that monster on the throne. But I will not be having some of my best mercenaries, some of my best friends, running themselves into the ground. And then she'll turn to oh my gosh, my mind's blanking on me. She'll turn to Rhea. I forgot your name for just a second.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, because I was thinking Regan, because we were just talking about Regan. Turns to Rhea and goes, "Did you contact your family?"
Would I have had time to have sent a letter out?
Yeah, from the time in between when you found out that the Gillistina was going to be sent, yeah, you would have definitely had time.
All right, and would it? I don't know how far the stronghold is from here. Do you think it would have?
Your stronghold is only about 2 days' journey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only about 40 miles outside the city, in the hills, or in the mountains. I mean.
That's a lot closer than I imagined. Okay.
Well, it was part of the reason why you were sent to Corvosa. They wanted you on your own, but maybe not too far. You know, like when parents send their kid to a state school, they're gone, but they're not too gone.
Don't at me like that.
You can still come by on the weekends. It's fine.
Yeah, you can do your laundry and stuff.
I feel attacked.
Oh, that's why. That's why she got sent to Corvosa, not because.
But you would have had time, and notice would I'm sorry, not let me look this up. Actually, I have this written down. Yeah, no, it's about 3 days, 3 days journey. So it's about 60 miles outside, which is actually quite a distance for people that walk, but it's still not that bad. So definitely within the past 3 weeks, plenty of time to have let them know.
Okay. So she will look up to her. Yes, I sent word a few weeks ago.
Good. Then I need you all, with all respect, out of the city for a while. If Gadrian knows you killed Rolth, we killed Rolth, they'll be gunning for you. Having you gone is even better and more imperative now than it was before. Your image in the city is vital now. If you lose that, Gadrian can attack you at will. This isn't just the queen with some grudge we're talking about. This is a person who wants all of you dead, and they are now the most powerful person in this city. Some distance, some time would do everyone good. And I have a prisoner that desperately needs to be elsewhere.
Suddenly makes the risk of walking into an ambush out in the middle of nowhere a bit more appealing.
And Muri would say, but not tonight. Tonight, I am throwing a feast for you and for the Crimson Guard. No, Cressida, do not raise your hand at me. I will be preparing a feast for all of them. They have earned it. And like Cressida, who like had this hand raised halfway through, just knows when not when not to, and she just lowers her hand. Fine. But soon, please. And in the meantime, I'll figure out what power I still have left. And for the very first time, she, for just a split second, looks completely broken. Like someone who's just lost everything. But it's gone. A split second later, Crested is back, strong form, set jaw. Anything else you need from me?
Amelia shakes her head.
How exactly will we be transporting Jolistina?
Prison cart. And about 6 of my guards.
What's a prison cart?
It's, oh, I'm sorry, sometimes I forget that you're not actually one of us. It's a carriage of sorts, made from iron. Iron bars, iron gate, attached to 2 horses. Lead it down the road. You tie the prisoner to manacles within, and it becomes almost impossible for them to escape. She is, as far as we can tell, not magical, though she did have some magical trinkets on her, if I remember you right. In and of herself, that should be more than sufficient.
Perhaps you should tie her down with a few other things. She can be rather slippery.
Can we actually reinforce the walls, making it into more of a steel box?
Not in the time that we need to move. No, that would take a week or more.
What about if we use wood?
I suppose it can be done. Like, she has this confused look on her face. Look, I understand that you're not the fondest of Jolistina, and neither am I, to be fair with you. But no, I'm not going to say it. I will never punish people for being cautious. Very well, I'll set some guards to it if that's acceptable.
Thank you.
Amelia will run a hand through her hair and say, "Are you sure about that? I don't relish the thought of staring at her for the next however many days, but having her out of sight makes me more paranoid than with her visible."
Oh, don't worry. She won't be out of sight. She won't be alone, at least.
Amelia frowns at that.
Rhea looks very confused.
Ross has a plan.
I think I might know what your plan is.
I know what it is. Rhea doesn't.
Cressida goes, right, well, fair enough. Look, get her to the Paladins. I promise you, they are some of the best at keeping prisoners and rehabilitating them that I have ever seen. They know what they're doing. Our Aria can attest to that.
She just nods and kind of looks away from the rest of the party.
Well, then, I have plenty to prepare for, especially if I have to prepare for a feast, apparently. So, if you'll all excuse me. And as she leaves the room, she rests a hand on like Aras's shoulder and squeezes it, like looking in your eyes, kind of that reassuring look. And then leaves the room.
Actually, I was going to say, for the first time that anybody has ever done that to Aras, she will actually look them back in the eye. Bit more confident.
Gotcha. You'll get a nod of understanding before she goes. And for the first time ever, Cressida has left you in her office without her there. Trust
Okay,
level
who's gonna roll
gained.
the alcohol?
Like trust level achieved.
Quick, where are the handcuffs and keys? No, I'm kidding.
Excuse me?
We're taking down Julistina now. I guess.
Just kidding. Anyways.
I had to turn on my fan. It's actually kind of hot in here. You guys suck at looking for things.
Oh god, I know. Oh shit.
Ross is like, I don't know why you're over.
Like on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Like the keys are like right on the desk. Everyone's just looking around and Ross just walks right to them. No,
He's been in here enough times.
I assume, but I should ask. You guys aren't really ransacking the office, are you?
No.
Okay, just being sure. So with that, Weary goes to the kitchens, in preparation for, apparently an impromptu feast. What about the rest of you?
Ross goes back to the warehouse and finishes building her mechanical servant.
Gotcha. So we'll say, because this is early in the day, you know, the morning was like 10 a.m. when you had the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And you just needed to do the final touches, get the magical core in place. And would you like to describe to us what exactly you've created?
So, using my amazing research and mastery of mechanical tinkering, I have built a mechanical servant that is in the form of
A chihuahua.
a fox. Close, but a little bit bigger.
Oh, so it's not Claptrap?
What?
Excuse me?
She doesn't know who Claptrap is.
My jokes are lost.
Not on me, they're not.
I'm like, I went somewhere totally different with that. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think.
Ross comes back with GLaDOS.
I came back with an STD? What? No.
Oh my god, no. Okay.
I mean, that's what I thought when you said Claptrap. Sorry.
You guys need to nerd more.
This asshole.
So how big is it, would you say?
About the size of like a medium dog.
Gotcha.
I mean, like
so
the size of
husky size, maybe?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
About husky size. but by the features and the pattern, it has like, it doesn't have fur, but it does have like painted markings on it.
Sure, like and the metal plates overlap in such a way of that they can move almost hair-like.
Okay, so it's clearly just obviously a fox.
Gotcha.
That I have named Kitty.
Nice. So, Kitty, you activate Kitty for the first time, and Kitty sits up, blinks a few times mechanically, looks around, sees you, sits down on her hind haunches, and her tail starts sweeping back and forth on the floor. She looks at you, and she yips once.
Well, that worked better than I expected. Kitty, can you go grab me that bottle over there?
She yips once again, and prances, literally prances, over to the bottle, picks it up very gently, despite being made of metal teeth and claw and on jaws. She picks up the metal bottle without even leaving a scratch on it, brings it back to you.
Wait, don't use your mouth. Use your hands.
She pauses, unhooks her mouth, and then takes her hands and cups it around it.
What you see, because it's a fox, but
Right.
out of the torso come these like robotic arms. Like, they're not quite hands, they're more like the 3-clawed grippers.
Right.
Like you would see in Inspector Gadget come out of his hat.
So, like, out of its chest, yeah, a little claw-like appendage comes out, grasps the bottle, and she trots back over to you and hands it to you. The claws retract back inside. She sits down on her haunches again and yips once.
Okay. Well, that works. Let's guess we'll have to go for a walk to test out every other stuff. But this is good. This is progress. Okay. And then she'll just start drawing, like going back to her notes and writing down her observations and things to do in the future.
Gotcha. Kitty sparks, flares up, smokes, and falls over. No.
Well, see, now that's what we were all expecting.
She did one thing.
Well done.
No, okay, the rest of you, how are you spending your day?
Fuck, I had a thought and then the metal fox happened and I lost it.
Her name is Kitty.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't know, Rhea, you're gonna be hanging out with your wife. Oh, sorry. Fiance.
I just blanked. Okay. So Rhea is going to be going back to the warehouse as well. And obviously it's been some very rough few weeks. So mostly she's just going to be staying on the main floor and like playing games with the kids and whatnot. And after maybe a few or something, she'll gather all of them around and she'll smile at them and say, "Watch this." And I'm gonna summon.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to like clear some tables and make some room.
It's fine.
And you'll even get the attention of Shala, who this whole time has actually been in the corner, off on her own, with her violin, doing something very quietly.
Wait, who's doing something quietly?
Shala.
Shala, okay.
Alright.
But you got her attention now. Everyone's curious because like you're clearing some space and then a little bit more space.
A little bit more space.
And then you spend, I believe it's 10 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes chanting and praying to your god. Thor, was it?
It's something like that, yeah.
No, what is Rhea's god?
Shellen.
Shaylin. And after 10 minutes, there is a gust of wind inside the warehouse, blowing everyone's hair back, and all the kids are like, "Whoa!" And the ground in front of you, there starts to be a small ball of light, a bright yellow light, and the ball gets bigger and bigger, bigger, and bigger until it encompasses the room and dissipates. And what's left in its wake? Would you like to describe your summon?
So, just looking over this real quick. So I get a choice of Celestial, Fey, or Fiend for how it looks.
Is a metal fox. What are the odds?
Stole my idea. No, in the room now is a very, very big corgi with, I'm gonna go with Celestial. So
Yes.
I'm not sure.
The
Well,
race of the
yeah,
gods.
absolutely. I'm not entirely sure how to describe a celestial corgi. It's just got like a halo. That's hilarious.
It's always well groomed. Like no matter where it goes, no matter how dirty it gets, it's always never tangled, it never mats, it always looks like it just came from a cleaning.
Radiant, one might say.
What's its coat like? What's its colors?
It's it's like white and like a tannish color.
And I have to stress, this is the size of a horse. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we talking small horse or are we talking Clydesdale? Because horses vary quite a bit.
Yeah. I wish I knew horses.
Do you want to be able to climb on it without a ladder?
Because in that case, a Clydesdale is a no-go.
Yeah. No, I know Clydesdales are
Would you
really
all
big.
stop knocking her for her height?
Listen, man.
That's so mean.
I actually wasn't even considering.
Oh, I know. That was all me.
Yeah, no, anyone would struggle to get onto a goddamn Clydesdale. Maybe like the size of a draft horse, probably?
Yeah, or a cart horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
The children go wild. It's so pretty. And like they just run towards it and start like hugging. I mean, it's a big fluffy corgi. And Shala's just like, wow. Wow. I mean, could you always do that?
Yes.
Well, why did you wait so long?
Well, we always seem to be busy and running around everywhere. It just didn't seem like it was ever enough time or the right time, I suppose.
She'll put a hand on your shoulder and, with a fair amount of mirth, for something like that, any time is the right time. And she'll walk up to it and hold its hand out to be sniffed. What's the, it's your summon. What's the corgi's personality?
It is a very, very cheerful, very obedient little corgi. Or big corgi.
This is
little
the
big
one.
corgi.
Little big.
Gotcha.
Big little
So it tends to be sits very still but looks very content that there are now a dozen children wrapping themselves around it. And Shala will look back as she pets its giant muzzle and goes, "So how long does it last for?"
As long as I wanted to.
Her eyes grow big at that. What do you... I mean, like... Could paladins always do this? Because I feel like paladins couldn't always do this. Like, she's very happy and kind of playful, but also genuinely amazed.
Yes. Well, typically they would summon horses or other sorts of mounts.
Her eyes like grow wider with recognition, and she like comes to you and like takes your hands and like whispers, "Is this your steed?"
Yes.
Oh my god. Can we ride it?
Yes, if you'd like to.
Yeah, the last word doesn't really get out as Shala just like kisses Rhea unexpectedly, very happily, like, oh, I mean, it's freaking Shala. How would she... This is like a dream she never even knew she had, just came true.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. So, there's that scene.
Just to tack a little moment onto the end of that, as all of this is happening, Amelia's got like papers that she's kind of like folding up, walking down the stairs, like totally not paying attention. She's been on the roof for a little bit. And as she gets down to like the last step, she looks up, sees this massive dog, and just goes, "Oh God!" Just clutches her heart like, "Oh, okay. All right."
It looks up at you, barks, which in the warehouse echoes more than you might think, and then just kind of tongue rolls out the side.
Oh, okay. That's... Whose is this?
About that time, you hear Arla like rush out. What the hell is that?
Everyone looks at Rhea. I'm just like imagining like a dozen small hands pointing at her.
She just kind of raises her hand a little bit.
Amelia looks from this massive fucking dog over to Rhea and goes, "Oh. All right."
You hear from below the corgi's mouth, you probably didn't notice at first because it's covered in corgi fur, Shala's triumphant voice. "It's her steed, and it's amazing."
She like looks like she's about to say okay and then frowns and goes, "Really?" You know those days where you're like, it might as well happen.
Yeah. Like, am I still asleep?
Yeah.
Or Ross will be like, "Oh, that's really cool. Does he or she,
He.
does he like to play and wrestle?"
And
Ross,
as
nothing
she
would
says
crush
that,
you.
as she says that, you guys hear mechanical gears whirring as a fox.
Well, I would.
Oh, sorry. No.
I would wait for her to answer that question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought she was like right beside you. So never mind. I take back everything I said.
Start at the beginning, folks.
I totally don't want to answer that question. But Ria would look at you. Yes, he's quite playful.
Perfect. Kitty, trip.
What?
And with that,
She says at the same time as Amelia.
a metal fox yips mechanically, jumps out, and runs towards the corgi that is maybe 5 times her size. And please make a non-lethal attack roll, please.
So I'm doing the bite attack, but I don't want her to actually bite.
That's fine, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
You don't get advantage because there are no allies next to it. That's a 21. What's the corgi's AC?
I don't even.
There's a stat
Hold
block.
on.
I know there's a stat block. I've seen it.
I have to search.
She didn't expect. I told the group I didn't know if there'd be any combat tonight, but if there was, it'd be a surprise for everyone.
I wasn't anticipating it being my dog.
I'm sorry, it's just too perfect to, not do from
I'm pretty certain the AC is less than 21, but I do need to know what its
12.
strength save is.
It's strength save.
Make a strength save for me.
So
Yep. Strength saving throw.
this would be +1.
+1?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, no, it would be unusually strong, so it would be a bigger plus.
Okay.
I'm not sure
That's
what
fine.
that would be though.
It's still.
Say.
It had to succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw or knocked prone. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would definitely.
yeah, he succeeds.
So what happens is the metal teeth retract, and it's almost like the fox gums it, trying to knock it off balance. And the corgi looks very confused, lifts up a paw with a metal fox hanging off of it, and just kind of stares at Ria like, "What?"
I just imagine, a little puppy trying to play with a giant dog.
Right? Yes.
The dog's like, go away.
And by the way, the metal foxtail is wagging in the air underneath it.
What is that?
Oh, Kitty, heal.
Kitty will
And
let go, drop to the ground. And
it's
then go ahead.
it's my fox. She's gonna be helping me out. And I figured since she doesn't need to eat or sleep or take up much space, she'd be perfect for staying inside the cell with Jolestina.
Ah,
Normally when she fights, it's a bit more damaging. But, you know, this was just for play and test.
I would hope so.
So, wow, what's
As you do that, the corgi suddenly puts a paw to its chest, goes "Arr!" and rolls over on its back and kicks its legs into the air, lolls its tongue out the side.
Incredible.
And what is his name?
Portly.
Oh God, that's amazing.
So, Ross will just kind of like scratch his belly. And
Rolled a hit.
Yeah. With that, actually, you would hear a little "oh my" at the door as whoopsie. Hang on, let me get something off the stream. Screen real estate is at a premium these days.
Yeah, apparently.
As Murray stands in the door looking at everything going, well, I leave the warehouse for one day. Dinner is ready when you all are.
Yes, Mom. Amelia definitely doesn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, or also
there-
like, you don't have to clean up after him or anything. It's perfect. It's like a pet with none of the mess. I figured you would, approve.
Portly looks mildly offended.
With that, do you all get cleaned up, or do you just go as you are? What's the plan? Or are you just skipping Mary's feast and
She
playing?
would actually murder us.
I was gonna say, and playing fast and loose with your lives.
No, Rita will clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seeing as
Gotcha.
everybody else is, you'd at least wash your hands before dinner.
So I'll move this a little bit into more of a narrative stance and kind of explain the evening. And of course, at any time, I'll let you guys describe events or what you may or may not do. But you guys approach Citadel Volshnik, and despite the short amount of time, Muri has prepared a magnificent feast. She has apparently commandeered the kitchens of Citadel Gorvosa to this effort. And mostly no strange bugs. Most of it's food you've seen before. I mean, before having met Muri.
Keyword most.
Most, right. You gotta add some native flavor in there.
Gotta get texture from somewhere.
Most of the Crimson Guard that are still there are at the feast. Many of them tired, dirty, not had time to bathe. They all remove their armor, but and many of them very unsure of what the future holds, as they have by now no doubt heard that the Crimson Guard is no longer the main protector of the city, that has been replaced by the Grey Maidens. But still, even with that hanging over their heads and the events of the afternoon, which have quickly spread through the city, that the leader of the Sable Company unsuccessfully attempted to shoot the queen. Some people say that it was fate, that his hand slipped, or simply luck, or that even the gods themselves are protecting our new queen. But the very concept, the idea that the arrow may have hit its target, has not seemed to enter anyone's mind. The food is delicious as always. The atmosphere starts off kind of somber, but with prompting from Cressida, Shala, gets up on stage and begins performing an impromptu musical performance. She apologizes, saying that she is not prepared and that she is preparing something, but it won't be ready for several days, but she will do her best. And then proceeds to how do I do this again? How do I... Oh. No? I forget how to... Oh, there we go. Proceeds to do her best, or do a really good job. Playing very happy tunes, very happy, uplifting feast songs. And the mood starts to get much more cheerful as people get full bellies and full cups. And the atmosphere eventually turns to one of merriment as Muiri titles the feast The End of the Veil. Anything of note that you guys would do during the feast? Oh, sorry, Veil's End. That sounds way better than what I misremembered.
Oh God, what's his name? Is Van Casterkin there?
Van Casterkin is here, yes.
Okay. How's he looking?
Not too bad. Certainly better kept than before. He does have a new insignia on his uniform. He is now a lieutenant in the Crimson Guard.
Yay, just in time for it to mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Amelia will go over to him and say hi, kind of awkwardly.
Hello, Amelia. You look very beautiful tonight.
Really gonna start off on this. Okay. Her face immediately goes red. And it looks like she was like prepared to say something, and then all the words just kind of fizzle out, and she goes,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I was just sometimes I speak my mind.
No, it's I'm thank you. I was just going to ask how you were doing.
Oh. Great. No, I'm doing fine. Cressida promoted me last week for my efforts during the Blood Veil, which, given that I was seen as a deserter only a few months ago, is quite an achievement.
I would think so. Congratulations.
So, thank you. And then I found out that the order that I've decided to fully dedicate my life to has been usurped by the Queen's Guard. So no, Amelia, I'm not doing okay.
She nods solemnly and says, I am sorry about that.
I don't understand what we did wrong.
Nothing. You... if anything, you all have done more for this city than most anyone will probably ever realize. It is what is expected of you, which means you'll get far less credit than you deserve.
Yeah, it's like the troops always say. It's like pissing in dark jeans, warm feeling, but no one notices. And then, like, he kind of realizes who he's talking to.
She just frowns.
And, like, his face blushes. I mean, I'm so sorry. That's just something the guy said. It's very vulgar. I shouldn't have said that.
I haven't heard that before. It's an interesting turn of phrase.
Yeah. Some of the guys use it. I don't like to. Yeah. And he like scratches his head like. Nowhere really to go from there.
Yeah, they're both like avoiding eye contact at this point, just like, how do I go about this?
But how are you doing? I know that it must have been horrible from what I've heard down there. Are you okay?
Fine. Yes, I'm fine. Actually, I'm much better than I have been in a while. And she starts fiddling with the ring that she got back, or I guess, yeah, pretty much she got back. That she's got currently on her her right hand.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yes. Well, I know that Chrysidia said there would be some of her guards coming with us with our journey. Are you one of those, or are you going to be here?
Oh no, yes, that was the purpose of the promotion, actually. I'm to lead them. I guess she forgot to tell you.
There's been a lot going on. I'm sure it slipped her mind.
Right. No, yeah, that does make sense. No, she felt that a familiar face might help. I don't understand the details, something about a prisoner transfer, but well, I've never been outside the city. Should be an experience.
I'm sure it will. And she smiles, but there's a little bit of bitterness there. And after a moment, she shakes her head and goes, I suppose she'll fill you in more details later on, or at least I would hope so. But yes, it's good to see you doing well.
Yes, you too. Well, I mean, I suppose we'll have plenty of time to catch up on the trip then. Unless, I mean, hang on, give me a second. While Soldier Boy here determines. Oh God, no.
Oh no! I don't know what that was for, but it's gonna be bad.
Unless you would like to, I mean, there's music, and maybe you'd want to, and he like steps on your foot awkwardly, like very uncomfortable, totally out of his element, and like takes a step forward as he's saying this, in case maybe you wanted to. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh no, oh
fine.
no. I'm
fine. It's sorry.
Oh, it's that night.
Damage.
He's like, it's that night all over again. Oh my God.
No, you're fine.
And like his face is just hidden in his hands. Thoughts of tripping and hitting a bed just flashing in his mind.
I fucking knew it. Oh my God, this poor man.
It's like, just just never mind. Have a lovely evening. I'm sorry about the foot.
No, it's fine. Yes.
I should guard patrol things.
Mm-hmm. And they quickly run away. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Poor man, he crits at the best times.
That was incredible.
All
I
right.
thought that was going to be an insight check, but that was just so much better.
No, it was more like composure.
Oh no. Okay. Secondhand embarrassment. I'm getting firsthand embarrassment.
I know, and cringe humor is like my worst kind of. Oh, I feel it so bad.
Oh god.
Like I can't watch The Office because I empathize way too much with everything that happens there. No,
Oh god, same. Anyways.
Anyone else during the feast?
No.
No, Ross is really quiet.
Gotcha.
So
Has anyone seen Van Carlo, like, since he fucked off somewhere?
Is this a question you would like to ask, or are you just asking other players?
I mean, just in general, but also she would be asking.
Sure, we can say out of character. No one has seen him, and actually, that is something that worries Cressida quite a bit. He has not been
Does she
seen
know?
since the night he left you guys.
Gotcha. Does she actually know, like, that who he is, air quotes, or is that something that we don't know? Okay, then I'll just drop that like a hot potato, like everything else.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
She will, when asked about it, she will say that she's worried about it and say, knowing that damned fool, he's somewhere in Old Corvosa. But don't worry too much about him. He knows how to take care of himself, despite his age.
Yes, he certainly seems to.
Ross will speak up and ask about the were-rats.
Actually, at some point in the night, you are joined by more than just the Crimson Guard.
I knew it.
Yeah, because this is Murray who put this together. How could she not? The partway through dinner, first many of the clerics or ex-clerics of the Church of Abadar arrive, and Murray is at the door to greet each and every one of them warmly, and guide them to places at the table. And a little bit later on, very sheepishly, very nervously, many of them in very poor clothes, but still obviously like the best they had. Many people make their way in, led. Oh, hang on, I don't have her name in front of me.
Eris Yellow Eyes.
Thank you, Eris. Yes, so many notes.
Way too close to Ross.
Yeah, sorry, many notes. And led by Eris, they kind of sheepishly make their way in, looking around as this is kind of like the mouse walking into the cat's den. Murray, of course, is there as well to greet them, each and every one warmly, and more so than that, many of the Crimson Guard are there to greet them as well. It is, as I said before, common knowledge that the cure spread as quickly as it did because of the were-rats, and that cure saved the lives of more than one Crimson Guard or their family. So, on this night, the very least, when people put aside the worries of the night, you see something fairly amazing happen. People forget were-rats and clerics and guards, and what they remember is that they are alive, that their wives and daughters and sons and fathers are alive, and that a good deal of that has to do with the shabby little dressed, very skittish looking people. And because of that, they are accepted warmly by the Crimson Guard.
Yay!
The feasting goes on for quite some time into the night. Shala, of course, can only perform for so long. She performs for about an hour or so, and when she gets
encore,
when she gets off the stage, she'll take her seat by Rhea and say, "That was nothing. I'm preparing something, but it's not ready yet."
Might I ask what it is?
Call it present for your family.
Oh.
She's gonna propose to you in song.
I was just gonna say that, but I didn't want to.
Like the worst, like you never knew Shala has a horrible singing voice, but she tries it in a cappella, and it's just the cringiest.
no.
Oh no.
No. But that's all she says, and she starts eating.
All right.
The night goes on, and after probably 10 or 11, it starts to die down as the guards, many of them have early shifts. Some of them have night shifts. They're actually, getting their armor on, getting ready to go back out. As Cressida has made it clear that the Grey Maidens may have taken over the responsibilities, but the Crimson Guard is still here. As long as it is still here, it will protect the citizens. Queen or no queen. Well, she didn't say it that way. She actually publicly is very supportive of the queen. At least on the surface. For you guys, maybe some of the other guards, you're not sure. But for you who know what she kind of feels, it's very controlled. But at least in the public face, she does not openly dissent. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It is, we have lost many numbers. The queen is doing what she feels is best, but we still must do what we can, kind of thing.
So she does like, what is it, Sean Spicer, but a better job?
I'm not sure who Sean Spicer is.
Never mind. It was a really bad political joke.
Ah.
Oh, wasn't he like one of the White House correspondents?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, it's that thing I don't follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the night kind of peters out. Everyone says their thank you. Weary is thanked more than humanly possible. No, her feast was actually a great hit and did a lot to bolster the morale of not only the Crimson Guard but also the were-rats, and maybe possibly start building some bridges there that they desperately have needed for a very long time. As Weary's hunch was correct that many of these were-rats were bad people because they were not given a choice. And now perhaps they have another path. And with that, finally, things die down. You guys make your way back to the warehouse. And I assume all prepare for bed, possibly drift off to sleep.
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
Ross is gonna go to Weary's room.
Oh, okay. Weary will answer the door. Yes, child?
You mentioned earlier about being able to send messages.
Yes, I have the ability to speak to those I have met before. It's very short, only a few sentences, but they can hear me, know it was me, and oh, hang on. Sorry, my cat's trying to get in my room. Hey, Cripple.
I didn't know Moiri had a cat.
New surprises every day.
I had
so
my
many pets this episode.
I had my door blocked by a box for the Roomba thing, and my cat's just like staring at me. I'm like, what? You can jump? Oh wait. Not right now. He can't.
No, we're like, wait, Murray has a cat now?
Yes.
It's a whole petting zoo.
It's a giant Siamese. No.
Oh Jesus.
And she goes, but they know it is me, and they are able to respond.
Well, I know we'll be leaving soon, and before I left the city, I wanted to send a message to Thousand Bones.
Oh. Well. I have more than enough in me tonight to accommodate such a request. What would you like to tell him?
You said it had to be short, right?
Around 24 words.
Yeah. Character stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
She says metally.
Trying not to metagame.
Right.
I already had prepared. I just would have seemed really weird saying
Sure.
it without.
So like Ross takes a moment to word it, and then
Yeah.
what does she want delivered?
I'm a coward, but I finally see a spark, a tiny flame, to guide me on this black walk. May the spirits guide us both.
Mary nods. She says, I will have to adapt it a little bit so that he does not think that I am the coward. But
if you say exactly that, he'll know it's from me.
Are you sure, though? I have never seen you as such.
I promise you it's the last conversation we had.
I will not dictate your message, of course, but you are no coward, or us.
No, I am. Well, at least I have been. And funny enough, last time I was dressed fancy. Is when he told me, and he was right. I'm not a coward in the fact of, running into combat or putting myself in danger. But man. I've been a coward regarding things about myself. And blaming everybody else.
I see.
Saying I didn't have a choice. And that's what he told me, and he's right. But he also said that, I have a flame and inside me, and well, one day I'll get there.
I will deliver your message. And she closes her eyes and mutters a spell. And then there's a long 20 seconds or so. She opens her eyes again. Thousand Bones responded. He said that you are scared. But you are no coward. Something about a coward does not seek to change, and to let your ancestors guide you. He has a very warm mind.
He's a really great guy.
I can see that. Well, he gives good advice too, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Besides my brother, he's the only other person guy I've ever felt that I could ask for advice. I have one more thing that I wanted to ask.
Of course.
And she'll pull out the same letter from earlier. Is there a place where I can keep this? I mean,
I was coming to a decision, and I was going to let the others know tomorrow, but perhaps it would be best to tell you now. I have no intention of leaving the children or the city at this time. If you would like, I can keep it safe with me.
Oh. I guess that makes sense. You know, your first responsibility is the kids.
Yes. Presidia means well, but she has never raised a child.
Yes. Yes. If something happens and I don't make it back, can you make sure Satomi gets this, and also Kitty? If you send it to her, she'll understand.
On the path that we both tread, I think that latitudes are beyond us. If something were to happen to you, you have my word that I will deliver it to her myself.
Thanks.
But I would very much hate to spend so much time away from the children, so do try not to let that happen.
Oh, definitely. Just so I spare you the pain of being so far away. Because I'm sure that's the biggest inconvenience about it. Thanks.
It would be a great kindness.
I'll miss you too.
And with that, she'll hug Aras.
So hug her back. You know.
Be safe. I will see you in the morning.
I will too. I'll see you in the morning. Sorry. Yes.
I can imagine like Aras is like stumbling out backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else before you bed down for the evening?
I'm good.
Oh yeah. So the papers that Amelia would have been walking down with earlier during the whole corgi shebang. I can't talk right now. Were letter to her mother and Triana. If they're like still in one spot, or are they still traveling randomly?
They are, as far as you know, they are. They've taken up residence and work in an inn about 40 miles northwest of Corvosa. So as far as you know, they should still be in the same place.
Okay, yeah, she's going to be sending a letter there then.
Okay.
It's not going to be like super detailed, like, yeah, we totally murdered Rolf. Boy, that sure happened, but just like kind of a vague, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm with Muiri, and everyone's fine. And I believe that our journey is halfway done.
Okay. Fair enough. Any like current events, like the city's fine, we're headed outside, anything like that, or is it more just a status update on you?
Remind me, did we actually hear about title episode? This one would be called Post Office. God damn it. Remind me, did Amelia and her mom actually know about the plague before she got back, or
No.
okay?
It was quite a surprise. You basically walked in on a dying Van Casterkin.
Yeah. She would give them like the TLDR. God, I'm really struggling right now. Of like, there was an outbreak, but it's under control again. Everything is getting better. that sort of thing. Like, kind of really, really underplaying most of it.
Gotcha.
Because she doesn't want anyone to worry.
Right.
Which is probably going to be like an immediate sign of like, okay, something probably happened.
So here's an important question I have for you, for Amelia.
Yes.
If she is traveling outside the town, it might be an opportunity to see them or meet with them. But I don't know if that's a priority for Amelia or not. I mean, because obviously if she's outside of Corvosa, would that be something Amelia would be interested in telling them? Or would she rather them just stay where they are, not move?
She would want to see them, but this would have to be after Gelasina is taken care of. So, if anything, she would probably give them like a rough idea of like, I may be able to stop by within so and so amount of days.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. You're able to send the letter by the Corvosa does have like a rudimentary form of post office. A message
It'll
men
get
on
there
horses.
in 3 weeks.
It'll be about 5 to 6 days. It's only 40 miles away, but you got to imagine they have other stops, and they're not exactly what you'd call dedicated to the road.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They get there when they get there. It's fine.
It would be 5 silver pieces to deliver the letter.
That's fine.
Oh, by the way, Ross, Murray didn't charge you. It's going to be 35. No. Look, you got to buy magical services in this town. No.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
When did she switch to the Church of Abadar? What the fuck?
Like Murray would ever charge.
Oh.
All right. So, with that, everyone beds down for the night. Though, Aras, you never were the best at getting to sleep. Especially not since the incident. But you try this night, like you do so many nights before. And eventually you do find sleep. But with sleep, again comes the dreams. This dream, not quite like the others, but in many ways, just like the others. You find yourself in the lab again at the university. The moment where you see your brother die, Gadrian's rapier digging into his chest, his cry of pain and shock, him falling to the ground, turned away from you. But the difference is this time, the lighting is worse than you remember, and everything's in place. Gadrian's where he is, your brother's where he is, or at least looks like your brother, or does it? It's really dark, it's hard to tell, but the scene, you know the scene. Except this time, you don't run like you did before. Something compels you, moves you forward. You don't know why. You don't even think that it's wrong. You just move forward, terrified. Heart beating in your chest, eyes locked on your brother's form, or is it your brother's form? You see blood pooling underneath them. Gadrian standing silently watching you. You reach out. You reach out to shake your brother, but your hands touch feathers. You roll the body over to see Muri's lifeless eyes staring at you. And with that shock, you wake up.
Yeah, I'll kind of bolt up and then just tell myself it's not real. It's just a dream. It's not real. And then I'll get up and then I'll start looking through some notes, trying to do anything else to distract myself. And then when that doesn't work, I guess I would, since we're in the warehouse, actually, since we're in the warehouse and I can't sneak out like normal, I would go up to the roof and then cast spider climb on myself and walk down.
Mom, she's escaping through the windows.
Start walking the city at night again.
Okay.
And I wind up towards where I hired the PI. So I'd walk up and just kind of knock on the door, see if anybody's there.
You hear some shuffling. Just a moment. Just a minute. The door opens. What? Oh. You. Oh God, you.
No. It's okay. It's.
He like pulls you into the house and closes the door. I thought we had an agreement.
I wanted you to look at somebody else. Not at all related to any of this.
And I told you not to come here again. He kind of sighs. Who? What? What did you want?
I need you to look into Calvin Osler. I can't remember my own father's name. Yeah.
Why?
I heard that he was working for the Church of Abadar.
And
he doesn't believe in religion. Right. I don't know what he's doing. If I knew, I wouldn't need to hire somebody.
So let me... He like goes over to the desk and pours himself a glass of something dark and sits down. Let me get this straight. The first time I meet you, clear as day, you walk in here and you ask about tracking a person that almost got me killed once. Next time, come into my door in the middle of the night and say, no, this is completely different. Just look into one of the most powerful people in Corvosa. Is that what I'm understanding here?
Well, up until about 5 years ago, he wasn't very... And something changed. And I just need to know what that is.
Roll me a persuasion check, please.
Oh, oop. Sorry, I almost rolled from totally the wrong sheet. I'm like, wait, why do I have a -2 for...
Wow.
21.
I was totally about to say, lady, you got a condition.
It was because I was looking at the Fox's stats.
Right.
That's where the -2 was from. Sorry.
So he takes a long swig and sighs. Puts it down on the desk. I have got to be the stupidest detective that ever lived. Fine. Who am I to refuse one of the heroes of Corvosa? It will not be cheap.
I didn't expect it to be.
So, this guy. What do you know about him?
Up until 5 years ago, I knew everything about him. I knew what he ate, where he slept, everything.
What, were you his personal servant? Or he kind of looks up and down. A call girl?
No. But I was employed by the household, and I was around quite a lot.
So, give me a second.
And
God, this guy. Middle of the night. He goes, all right. And so, what?
And he's a heavy follower of the Church of Resmir.
So he converted. I mean, the Church of Abadar has a lot of appeal for rich people.
But somehow, in that time, he also went from being a minor noble that hardly got an invite to a party. I mean, he only had his noble status because of his position in the Church of Resmir.
Yeah, maybe, possibly. But the death of his son actually paid off for him quite a bit. See, I don't become one of the better detectives of the town without knowing its people. This man that you're talking about had a son. Genius, from what I heard. Worked at the university. Died, tragically. It generated a lot of sympathy for him. Well, I should say he leveraged it to generate a lot of sympathy for him. And you could say his star has been on the rise ever since.
So after... How exactly did he leverage his son?
Doing what all nobles do. Playing up the tears, giving a moving speech at his funeral, etc., etc. Talking about how we've lost one of the greatest minds the world will never know. The sympathy play. It works well, especially among rich people who have more money than sense.
And when did he convert to the Church of Abadar?
I didn't know that he had. If I knew all the information up front, I'd be charging you my full price now. I may have suggested that I know these people and I know him, but I don't know all his dark secrets. At least, not yet. And he'll lean forward, but understand something. Little dwarf. I hear that you're pretty amazing. I don't know how you saved this town, but I'm convinced that you did. And twice now you've come to me wanting me to investigate incredibly dangerous people. Now, given that I may or may not have a niece that may or may not be alive now because of you, I'm willing to do this, but you need to understand. Plagues don't hunt you down if they find you looking. This man might.
If you feel like things are getting too dangerous or one out, just let me know and I'll pay your full price. And I won't be back.
Not this time. What happened last time was a one-time thing. An exception to the rule because I'm smart enough to know when not to poke my nose. But I'm used to danger and I know the risks. What exactly do you want to know about this noble?
I want to know When he converted, I want to know how it corresponded to his rise in power. He wouldn't have changed unless it benefited him somehow. There's something off.
Okay. I can see where you're going with that. I can work with that. You worked at the household. Was he close with his son?
Yeah, he was really close with. I wasn't close with his daughter.
He leans back in his chair. Wasn't aware he had one.
Most people weren't.
Interesting.
She also died that night.
Well, then I would suggest talking to her. Oh, the things she could tell us.
Perhaps.
Of course, I do know a wizard with that special capability.
You do?
Yes, it's very helpful. Again, he's not cheap, but he has a certain talent of being able to talk to those that, shall we say, are on other planes of existence.
Hmm.
And this isn't no cheap speak with the dead cleric spell either. I mean the real deal. You want to find this man's secrets, you talk to the people he doesn't want anyone to know about.
I need to find out what's happened in the 5 years since.
He shrugs.
Instead.
Fair enough. I can find that for you. Besides, I wouldn't be able to talk to this person anyway. You have to have known them. But he shrugs. Give me 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. 300 gold. Half of that. That's half of my price. If I turn up something, we'll talk about the rest. Deal?
Deal. I'll give him 400 gold.
He'll nod. Well then, I'll
see.
Find you when I have something.
All right. Sorry to bother you so late.
Oh, it's fine. It's not like I was sleeping or anything.
Stay safe.
I'll try, kid. I'll try. And then he like shuts the door on you.
Okay, I'll just go back to the warehouse.
Okay. All right. You try and get sleep. It eventually comes. The next morning, you all wake up. And during breakfast, as you guys prepare for your trip, Murray comes to the table and she says, I wanted to let you all know. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm not leaving the children. Not when things are still so turbulent. I have faith in all of you to get Julistina where she needs to go. And I'll be waiting here when you get back. Besides, I think that my son will need me here even if he doesn't admit it.
Well,
I was muted. Amelia would nod and say, of course.
you know how to reach us. Haha.
I do. And I expect that I'll be using that quite a bit to be updated.
We'll let you know if anything happens.
Please do. And then she'll hug each and every one of you, like, strongly. And then she'll be like, and I packed these for the journey, one for each of you. Don't eat it all at once. It's 3 days to where you're headed, from what I hear. And some of it is going through mountains. Make sure you change your socks. And stay safe. Oh, and Rhea, dear.
Yes?
Your dog sheds.
Oh.
Well, that's one way to break the ice.
Like, and with that, like, as she's saying that, she's like holding out a broom.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy. Yeah, his hair is probably as long as Rhea.
Yeah, probably. But you quickly clean up and start making.
While she's cleaning, Aras has one more errand to do before we leave.
Okay.
And she'll say, you know, I have somewhere I'll be gone for an hour. And then we can go.
All right. No one stops you.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Amelia would ask if you needed any company or wanted.
No. I appreciate it, but this is one visit I have to make by myself. Maybe next time.
She'll nod and get packing.
All right. So, Aras, where are you headed?
Oh, back to cemetery where we went before.
The Grays. Yeah, the Grays. Okay.
The end of book 1. And I mean, it's a huge cemetery, so I guess there's like a place to look up people that have been buried there, where they were buried.
Yes, there would be a ledger of sorts. Yes.
I mean, I guess I would. Do I need to ask somebody?
Yeah, you would discuss it with the clerics at the Grays, but that's what they're there for. So, they would be more than happy to help you, and they'd be like, "Yes, what soul were you looking for?" It's like an elderly woman, in her clerical robes.
William Osler.
Osler. Ah, yes, right this way. And she'll start guiding you through the Grays, past the crowded, poorer section into the less crowded, more elaborate section. She'll eventually take you to a headstone, and it says, "In loving memory of." Sorry, what was the first name?
William.
Okay, so I was thinking right, but for some reason I was thinking it wasn't that. So, in loving memory of William Osler, a father's only child. I'll leave you to it then, she says.
Thank you.
And backs away.
Appreciate it. Hey, well, it's been a while. 5 years. And some change. But I promised myself if I came back to this, I would visit before I left. So, oh man, I guess I have a few things. First, I should tell you that you didn't die in vain. You know, all that stuff you did earlier, you were right about the possibility of there being a plague that couldn't be solved by magic alone. And that's what Gadrian was after. Somehow he used it to take over the city, but thanks to your notes, we were able to save countless lives that would have been lost. Next, I guess I need to tell you that Ralt's dead, and Gadrian, oh, he'll be soon to follow. But I need you to know I'm not doing it for revenge. Okay. Maybe at first, but well, that's not even true. First thing I did was I ran, just like you said. I got about as far as the Bloodsworn Vale before I started getting sick and overcome with fever. Fighting final parting gift from Gadrian. You know, I should have always listened better when you were trying to teach me about first aid. Maybe I wouldn't have ended up in a cave. But then I would have never met Satomi. And she saved my life. Not just sickness, but she taught me a whole bunch of things. How to hunt, how to shoot a bow, how to put myself back together. But I never could get past my anger. What I always used as a shield. You know, I was always mad. I was mad at Gadrian. I was mad at you. I was mad at myself. And I blamed myself, thinking if I would have been better, stronger, that I could have saved you. I could have done something different. But it was easier. It's easier to be mad at you, to blame myself. And she'll continue to talk to William, tell her about how Satomi found her in the cave, transported her back to the Shanti, nursed her back to health, and helped encourage Arlen with her mechanical tinkering, and they built her first prosthetic ankle. And over the years how they started to fall in love, but with her anger and her constant bad dreams, she just started to shut people out. And then she'll start to tell him about after she came back and she met Mwiri, and tell him about how, like, for the first time, Arlen's had a mom and a sister, and she's been part of a group, a family. Eventually, she'll just kind of get quiet and then just sort of leave. As much as she talked, you know, nobody else there talking back. And it just kind of seemed hollow. And then she comes back to the warehouse.
As you come back to the warehouse, lost in your thoughts, you see two clerics, elderly clerics, sitting there. One of the ones that guided you. And they're sitting there having tea. And as you go back in there, she nods to you and she goes, "That was very kind of you. Many people tend to forget those that pass. That one hasn't been visited for many, many years. Not since that old man and his son visited."
Who?
Oh, it was many years ago, dear. There were two of them, a man and a son. And the one next to her goes, No, there were three. I remember them. There's the big headstone, that noble boy. No, there were two. And I clearly remember three leaving. My memory's not gone quite that far. And then the first one shrugs. Well, in any case, it's been quite some time. The kindness you did.
Thank you. If I give you some money, do you think he could keep flowers on his grave?
Of course. It is a service we offer.
How much?
It depends on what type of flowers, but it ranges anywhere from 5 coppers a month to 5 silver a month.
I'll give him a gold a month.
That is incredibly generous of you. It does my heart good to know that someone has his memory.
If you see anybody stop by again, let me know.
Of course.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant day.
You too. Well, okay.
That was a very pleasant, uneventful trip.
Okay.
I know. People's memories get spotty when they get old.
I know. Yeah.
That's totally what happened there.
Yep, definitely.
So, Elora, how much time do you have before you have to head out?
I don't have to leave for like another 20 minutes.
Okay. So that should be enough time for me to do a bit here. So, you guys make obviously Aras, you make your way back to the cart. And Citadel Volshnik, where the others are already waiting for you, in a metal cage that is covered with wooden planks. Everyone's dressed in travel gear, except Shala, who's wearing the same clothes. But you do notice you do notice she has softer, more like travel-worthy boots.
We need to buy this girl some clothes, honestly.
I think she disagrees. And of course, with Rhea astride her corgi.
Jesus.
It's getting a lot of looks from everyone. Van Kasterkin in everyday clothes. In fact, all the guards are in everyday clothes. Good traveling jerkins, but none of them are wearing a uniform. And he would explain that it's better that way. It draws less attention. The guards, you see 4 guys, including Van Kasterkin, 2 girls. Most of them are very young. Lower ranked, sergeants, a couple privates, but they don't seem like greenhorns. They don't seem like they're fresh out of basic or anything, but they are definitely younger soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And inside the cart, you hear as you approach Aras, Amelia, I've missed you. Why won't you say hello to me?
Aras will walk straight up to the cage with her fox and have the fox open the door, let the fox inside. And then we'll say, Jolistina, I'd like you to meet Kitty.
Her eyes follow from you to the metal fox, her eyes a little wild. You can see inside she's manacled, legs and arms to the sides of the cart. Hello, Kitty.
We're gonna have a nice, quiet trip, aren't we, Jolistina?
Where's Rolth? Where's my darling?
So, Aras will lean in really close and then whisper, I put a bullet through his skull. And then shut the door behind her as she walks out.
As you are leaving and shutting the door, you hear very quietly, You lie. You lie. You lie. You lie! You start hearing, like, pulling on the manacles. You lie! Over and over, screaming, you lie. Until her voice gets hoarse as the cart rolls down the street and out of the city. As you all start your grand adventure to Ria's family. I think that's a good place to end for the night.
Yeah. Nice cliffhanger.
A little bit.
I guess.
Wow.
So, Jolistina's doing well.
It's okay. She'll tucker herself out.
Yeah.
Just like a toddler, you just gotta let them tire themselves out.
Oh, earplugs, anybody? I have a few.
Oh, yeah.
Like the corgi's like whining quietly.
Oh.
All right, well, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch next Tuesday as we do more Crimson Throne. We get to go meet Ria's family.
Yay!
Huzzah! All right, ta-ta, everybody.
Okay,
Ta-ta!
goodbye.
Bye.